Hey guys, this time I'm talking about the Three of Swords. This is an interesting one because actually it's one of my major problem cards. It's one of those cards that, although when I look at it, I get initial sort of, the obvious connotations of heartbreak and turmoil and that kind of thing. It's something that I find hard to reconcile with a more naturalistic perspective. One that approaches the cards from a more sort of exploratory kind of point of view, that we're trying to use them to get in touch with something in ourselves or to explore things in ourselves. And I find it kind of hard to really get in touch with what the Three of Swords really means for me. So when I drew it initially, I actually thought, oh no, I'm not going to do this one yet. I'll leave it till another time and I'll draw another card. But then as I was putting it back in the deck, the phrase "weathering the storm" just kind of popped into my head. I kind of thought, right, okay, well, I'll start recording and I'll see where I go with it. So when I think about weathering the storm in the context of this card, I kind of think about the turmoil that can happen in your mind, and when you've got an awful lot of different emotions and different thoughts, and maybe clashes of personality, clashes in terms of communication and that kind of thing. If you've got a lot of that going on, in terms of weathering the storm, you might see this card as a suggestion of that the threes are often to do with reaching a point of stability, or a point at which things kind of they've gotten to a certain point. It's definitely not, it's obviously very early in the pips, so we're not talking about the kind of completion that we see later in the pips, in say the 9s or the 10s. But with the 3s, we are seeing a certain amount of, we've gotten so far, something has been built. The 2s are obviously more about two contrasting issues or two contrasting things, or balance and that kind of thing, whereas with the 3s we get balance, we reach some sort of point. So with the Three of Swords, if we're talking about weathering the storm, we might be looking at a situation where we need to reach that point, and we need to get through the storm and reach that point where we can put away that turmoil and get through that turmoil and reach that point where we can have a sort of peace of mind. Get to a point where we're comfortable with our thoughts, we're comfortable with our thought processes and where they're going and our ideas, or maybe with the communication issues that we're having with other people. Maybe we need to weather this storm, get through it, and reach a point where we can actually have proper communication with whoever it is that we may be sort of suffering from a conflict with, or something like that. So hopefully that'll give you an idea of how you might approach a card or go about interpreting a card in a different light if you're having a little bit of difficulty really getting in touch with it. Sometimes a phrase or a thought will just pop into your head, and just try running with it and see where you can go with that in terms of the imagery and in terms of the numerology and in terms of the suit of that card.